And so the purpose of this meeting is to have, yes, ma'am.
What are they?
They're consultants. They're the engineers, design engineers for the project. Yes. So the purpose of this meeting is to show you what has been developed since the last meeting. I'm sorry? So we can have a constructive meeting. We can have a constructive meeting, or we can go ahead and waste everyone's time. Respectfully speaking.
I agree with you.
I don't know. You came here. Who hired the consultants? We did. We asked them to design a project and to work with us in designing a project.
Can you move up? We can't hear you. Can you move up?
So look, can we keep the questions and answers to the end? Can we do that? If not, we won't get to.
Okay, but if you're going to introduce people, I want to know who they are and what they're doing here.
And I told you who they were. They identified themselves.
After complaining for 10 minutes.
Okay. So
They are
may I proceed?
They are vendors who are going to make a profit on
Exactly.
doing this.
May I
At our
proceed?
expense.
May I proceed? Okay. So so we're here to show you what's been developed since our initial meeting of public hearing held at the youth center. Also, our walkthrough held subsequently to that, and it's just to give you the information, more information for you to make as best informed decision as possible on your feelings on this project, whether you support or whether you oppose. So this project is intended to follow a process which is transparent and has included public engagement. And so we are merely here at this point to give you the last bit of information. By the way, there is a wealth of information on the website. You're more than welcome to peruse it. We can give you the website URL. And it includes also some of the questions, answers to some of the questions that you might be having right now as it relates to the bridge. And so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jessica Keller, and she's going to walk through, and also the other members of the
I
team.
have a question, Ed, before you start real quick.
Yes.
Because you just said that this is part of the engagement process.
Yes.
But we're in the implementation phase, right?
Yeah.
So in other words, this is not engagement before.
In other words, this is not the engagement process. You didn't come to Alhambra Circle before you hired the consultants or did the plans to engage the community of Alhambra Circle residents to see if we wanted a bike path, right? Because this is the first time, September 25th of last year, that you did a community meeting. So I just want to make sure that everybody who's here understands that you're in the implementation phase. You're not in the gathering community support in order to see if we ever wanted the bike path. That never happened. And it never happened when you got the grant in 2015, where there was supposed to be community engagement, and the Swains who are here today in charge of Bike Walk are the ones who said that we wanted a bike path. So I just want to know whether or not, I want to make sure everybody knows that this is the implementation phase.
Okay, so this is the way that these projects go. The implementation phase involves public engagement.
But you're supposed. No. According to the Bill of Rights of Coral Gables, because we have a Bill of Rights in Coral Gables.
I am not gonna get into an argument with a prosecutor, with a federal prosecutor, a former federal prosecutor. This is not the purpose of this meeting.
No, but it's being televised. I want to make sure that when the commissioners and Mr. Iglesias sees this, they understand that this is the implementation phase where the engagement should have occurred before implementation.
Sylvia,
It never did.
you've said that several times already, and it's on the record. And the thing I can tell you is that there was engagement before. There was.
Not.
There was not.
What did you do to engage people?
Good morning, everyone. I am Jessica Keller, and excuse me. It's really good to see all of you here, whether you support or oppose it, because it's really important to this process to have people engaged. By show of hands, I see a lot of new faces. Is this your first time coming to one of the meetings for the Alhambra Circle project by show of hands? Good. Did you sign in and give us your email address, because we want to make sure that you get added to the distribution list so that you get all of the information that the city is sharing with the community. So if you haven't signed in, please do so, and make sure you write clearly so that we don't make any mistakes in transcription, because that happens sometimes. So,
On significant notices, do you mail something to the residents?
No.
excuse me, I didn't hear you.
On significant notices, do you mail things?
So we mailed today. We mailed the first community. Wait, I'm not really sure what you're laughing at. Did no one get the mailer that we sent?
No.
So no one got a mailing.
No. No.
And you sent it today?
No. I'm talking about notifying for this.
No.
Okay, so some people did get them. Okay, thank you. I believe it's over 1,000 letters that we sent out. Secondly, okay, thank you, Maria. So secondly, when the polls go out, and we're going, Mr. Santa Maria is going to explain that process after I get through the boards. There will be certified mail sent out. So, that's the way that we can make certain that everyone has actually received the notifications. What I'm going to talk about now is these boards that you see up here, and these are representative of various segments along the roadway. So we have some segments that are wide open with not as big of a canopy as other segments. We have segments where it's a very narrow roadway, and we have segments where it's a wide roadway. So if you've been to some of the other meetings, or if you've been getting the emails, you know that we have two options that have been developed. One option is 10-foot travel lanes with 5-foot bike lanes right next to it, and sidewalks. So the other option involves narrowing the roadway to 20 feet wide all the way through the corridor. One of the options, excellent point. One of the options is to do nothing.
But we don't see it there. We don't see it
Who
there.
is here that does not want bike paths? Please stand. If you don't want
We
bike
don't want
paths,
anything. We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it. No, do nothing. We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it.
Okay, so
We don't want it.
we're trying to get through this presentation.
We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it.
So do you want to have a meeting or no?
we don't want the bike paths.
But do you want to have a meeting? Okay, so we're shutting it down. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Want it.
We're shutting it down. We can't have a meeting like this if you're going to please.
I have a question. After you make your presentation, will you give us the opportunity to
She asked a
Let
question.
us speak.
Sylvia, is that
So here's how this can go. 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 Let me stand behind the speaker. We can have a meeting where we discuss, or we can go ahead and do what we just did. And in that case, we don't get to discuss anything. You shut down the meeting. I'm happy to shut down the meeting. This is Saturday. It's a beautiful day. I could be with my family right now. I'm just trying to do my job.
we don't want to shut
So
down
that's your choice. I have to be here.
option. We want
I have to
shut
be here.
down the project.
I respect your time. That's why I want to have a productive meeting. It's your choice to be here. Can I finish? Absolutely, you can. I'll give you the microphone right now. But it's your choice to be here. We have to be here to do our jobs. And so let us do our jobs. We can have a discussion, and we can all go home.
You should have been here in 2015 when you first proposed.
Let us do our jobs so we can have a meeting,
we can go back.
and we can all go home. That's it. And we're trying to listen to the residents.
Where's option one?
So,
Option one is
so let me just say this. The reason we are here is because there is policy that is established that is guiding us to do this work. And that policy that was established was adopted by the commission. It was adopted by the commission. We're trying to do our jobs. Look, let me just say this. At the end of the day, if this project is voted down, I'm not saying vote, if this project is not approved by the commission, it won't move forward. And you will all have an opportunity to speak. You will all have an opportunity to express your opinions. We are not going to do something that the residents don't want. We're not. But at the same time, understand that we are here trying to put out the information, okay, so you can make an informed decision. And to me, it doesn't matter whether that decision is up or down. It doesn't. I'm just trying to do my job. Two sides, of course. Two sides. That's why. I'm gonna give the microphone to Marvin. He's a much bigger side than I am. Okay. Marvin is an incredible orator. But Marvin, please keep it limited because we have limited time.
Thank you, and I will keep it limited. I'm here as a translator. Not English to Spanish or Spanish to English, but from staff speak to truth. Staff has, through misrepresentation, misdirection, wanted to continue to. I'm telling.
I'm respecting you, but you're not respecting us.
I am telling the truth. Okay, we should not have a problem with that. They're using the euphemism traffic calming and complete streets to mean cement bike paths. That's what they want to sell. Safety, the bike path makes it much less safe. Beauty, and improving our streets. What they want to do is eliminate hundreds of thousands of square feet of green and turn it into hundreds of thousands of square feet of cement. Okay, they want to run swales. This is not about a line painted on the road. This is about an invasive process where they want to put cement paths across the front yards, essentially, on every house on Alhambra Circle, eliminating trees, spoiling the canopy, ruining the infrastructure, having to move or eliminate sewers, storm sewers, light poles, water meters, and eliminate the parking so that Alhambra Circle will have nowhere to park. There's going to be a bike path running right down your front yards. It's going to, listen, they're saying it's not true. Those of us that can see, you can go and you look with your eyes and you will see that there is no possible way that they can accomplish this without losing trees and without losing canopies. And this is just the beginning. They want to go to University Drive after this. They want to go to Granada Drive. They want to turn a residential neighborhood into a recreation space. And it's utterly outrageous. Nobody here asked for it. They're trying to impose it upon the neighborhood. They're trying to admit it. They're trying to impose this unwanted infrastructure on the neighborhood, which is totally contrary to what Coral Gables is. Complete streets is a euphemism, and what it means is applicable to Montana, to Dubuque, Iowa, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, as anywhere. It has nothing to do with Coral Gables. Jessica came from Baltimore, and she does not understand the vision of our city. I just said you came from Baltimore. Is that an attack? I mean, I thought Baltimore was not a bad place. You worked there for a long time. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you are at the. Listen, by the way, there's a measure on the ballot Tuesday to shut down the bike path. If you have to get fired, if you have to take off work, whatever you have to do, be there. Because if that passes, it's over. This issue is over if the resolution, which is sponsored by the mayor, passes on Tuesday, city chambers, 10 o'clock, be there. Let your voices be heard. If you don't, you'll wake up in the morning and hear tractors in your front yard tearing it up. Okay? Thank you.
As I said, Marvin is much better at this than I am. I can only say this, please. I can only say this. Marvin, I completely disagree with you. Okay? And all I'm asking you folks to do is to look and listen. And then if you agree with Marvin and then you want the project, that's up to you. But there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. There is. We are not looking to nuke the canopy. We are not looking to kill the neighborhood. We are just looking to do our jobs and put the information out there so the community can decide. Okay? That's all we're trying to do. And we need to do it in a respectful manner. I just gave Marvin a lot of time to speak. And I disagree with a lot of what Marvin said. And I don't believe that it's true. I don't believe that it's true. Yeah, and if I wouldn't ride on that bike path with my kids.
Why don't you just
Okay.
improve?
Did you want to say something now?
Just real quickly, my name is Debbie Swain. I walk, I bicycle ride, I take the bus. I take the bus, and I want you to know that those of you that are here that are interested in keeping yourselves and your family, your children safe while you're walking the streets, you're using the public rights of way, that you have friends among us. Do not be intimidated by the outpouring of folks against it. There are a lot of us, even in a lot on Alhambra, that are supportive of it. I just want to assure you of that.
Where are they?
Thank you.
So, I also want to make a note of one thing. Marvin did mention the meeting on Tuesday, and there is an item on the agenda. We sent out an email putting it out there so that all of you are aware that there is a meeting. So we want this process to involve you, and wherever it ends up, it ends up. So this is the way it is. Sorry. Okay, I'm happy to give you a minute. I will right after Brooke then.
You waited 4 years?
Okay,
to give
so
notice?
there's been a lot of discussion about the trees. I'm going to walk over here. So I'm in charge of about 39,000 trees in the city, and I'm also in charge of cleaning up after hurricanes. So the long-term health, sustainability, the forest management. Sorry, it was squeaking. So we have 39,000 trees in the city. I'm in charge. My division is in charge of maintaining the trees. We take it very seriously. We're also in charge of cleaning up after hurricane, which means we want the trees to be healthy. So my name's Brooke Dannemiller. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director in charge of Landscape Services Division.
Are you a registered and certified arborist?
We have I'm a landscape architect. I'm a licensed landscape architect.
Certified arborist.
I am personally not a certified arborist.
Thank you.
So we have 5 arborists on staff.
And, wait,
Sir, can I?
certified registered arborists?
We have 5 certified arborists on staff.
Registered, certified
Yes, ISA certified arborists.
that are doing arborist work? No.
They have components of arborists
Or
on.
they have other jobs.
Well, we all have other jobs. So we all wear many hats in the city, many hats. So so for the trees, we're gonna go on the trees.
Have they drank
So
the
we have.
Kool-Aid? Have all the arborists drank the Kool-Aid?
I do not know if they like Kool-Aid or Gatorade or what their preference of beverage.
Can we keep
Yeah.
a respectful dialogue?
Yeah.
Can we keep this a respectful
So
dialogue?
speaking to the trees, the Alhambra corridor has mature trees on the northern third and the southern third, and they're near the asphalt. In the middle third, as part of the tree succession project, where we planted over 3,000 trees citywide, we're still planting more trees in the North Ponce neighborhood. We planted about 1,000 after Irma. So the city is committed to trees. We've been at Tree City USA for 35 years. We take our trees very, very, very seriously, and no one can doubt that given our history. So the first walkthrough that we had, the first time we went out to the field, was with you guys on our walk shop going through. And that's part of our process. When we do park meetings, we just had one for Pond Circle Park, we go in, we ask for programming. We don't go in with a design, we don't have a pen to paper, we have an aerial view, and we go in and we get programming feedback. So on this,
You want to design September 25th. You want
no,
to design.
those aren't designs, those are concepts. So conceptually, in order to have a conversation about something, you need a graphic in order to discuss it. If we just go and we try to explain it, 20 people are going to visualize 20 different things.
But
So
you had a grant in place for that specific design.
not for a specific design, for some form of pedestrian infrastructure.
No, bicycle lane.
Bicycle lane.
So
You had a grant already in place for this specific neighborhood.
there's a grant for pedestrian infrastructure.
Bicycle lane.
So bicycle pedestrian.
No,
Bicycle lane.
They're saying,
Bicycle lane.
You can't walk on bicycle lanes.
so, but there's no. So getting to the trees.
It's not legal. You can't walk on a bicycle lane. It's not legal.
So this first section right here, we'll talk about this first section. We have 6-foot sidewalks. We have about 19.5 feet of asphalt, and we have 6-foot sidewalk, swale, trees, asphalt. So to widen that section to 30 feet wide would literally cut into the trees. So in that section, because we haven't put pen to paper and put on a plan what we're doing. So in that section, if we haven't given a recommendation or at all yet, we're still in the getting feedback stage. We would not recommend in this section here to go with a 30-foot asphalt because it's going to it would cut those trees. We would do the 8-foot sidewalk on each side and keep the asphalt at its current width or at 20 feet. When you get to the middle third of the section, where we planted the new trees, where they're brand new trees, the swale's wide open, both bike lanes or 8-foot sidewalks would be feasible. So we didn't come say, we're going to do this here. We're like, you have both options in that section. So we have not put pen to paper. We're just showing what the different options could be, and each one has different constraints and values that we have to balance. So this feedback is very helpful because clearly everyone wants to preserve the trees. Me personally, I'm a Coral Gables resident. I'm in charge of the trees. I do not want to lose trees here. And so there's been some questions about how many trees we're losing. On the walk shop, when we walked through, at the bridge, there was a dead tree, a tree with a cavity in it, a scheffelaria, an invasive growing under the bridge, and a Brazilian pepper under the bridge. Those need to be removed no matter what happens. So those have nothing to do with the project, and those are the only ones that I saw that on that walk shop that needed to be removed. So as we go through each of these, it's not for the whole corridor. It could be one option, like it's not the bike lane option, which is right over there. That is not feasible in this first block. I can tell you that right off the bat. That is feasible in the middle third. So as we go through these, we want to meet with each resident and get your input as to what would work, what would not work, and then take that input and then come up with a proposed design that then we would come back and see feedback on.
But I think, if I may, I think.
So if we can walk through the concepts,
Yeah.
just keep that in mind,
Just
that we're not
brief
proposing
note.
any one for the whole section. It's just,
I
these are
understand.
concepts that could potentially be implemented in different sections. Some are more feasible in some sections and some are not.
I understand. Just a brief note, there should be a third option, which is just keep it the way it is. And I
That's-
think,
that's
as you
that's
move,
implied.
just keep it the way it is.
That's implied.
Well, no, when you're speaking, you're saying we can do this or we can do this.
So again, this is conceptual level. Coming back, there's going to be polling. In that polling, we have the revised designs, and as part of the overall project, there's traffic calming measures that are proposed at various intersections and safety improvements at the bridge. Those have not been designed yet. We're not there yet. So this is the feedback process.
But how are you going to do a poll if all the concepts are not available?
Well, that's the next step. We have to develop something that then can be pulled.
Can you state that there will be not a loss of one mature tree? Can you state that we are not going to lose any of these big, beautiful mature trees? That's a yes or no. A yes or no. Can you say that we are not going as a result of
We
this
could lose one
infrastructure-
today due to trunk rot. As far as
No, as a result of the bike path, can you say that there's
As
going
a
to be no
result
loss
of
of
the-
trees?
at this
As a result of the bike path? Yes or no?
we don't have we haven't.
The answer is no then. You
That we-
cannot say it.
You're asking an impossible question. So I can't say.
Yes or no.
Okay.
Did you say we're not going to lose trees?
No, we have.
I think a lot of
Sir?
say, yay, can you say that?
from our walkthrough that we did last time, I did not see any trees that we cannot work around, other than the ones previously said.
Can you
But-
say we're not going to lose mature trees to the bike path? Because
It won't be as a direct. It won't be a direct result of the. It won't be a direct result of the project. It will be the one we found one that had a cavity in it, had trunk rot.
I'm not
If we-
talking about that.
So-
I'm talking about where there's no room for a bike path, where you can see with your eyes that the trees are there.
Then we'll work around those. We'll work around those.
There's no way around them within the swale.
Are you an arborist?
So yes, sir.
No, but I am a resident.
One at a time, please. One at a time, please. One at a time, please. Yes, we have a question.
And I called your office.
Use a microphone, Debbie.
When, this is very important, what she's going to say.
When you installed the Sevilla bike, a 30-year-old oak was transferred 5 feet, and it died within a week.
Yes.
Can you please explain what happened?
So what's your explanation for that if you're not going to lose trees?
Yeah.
That was a turn lane, I believe, at the school.
Yes.
That was widened for a turn
Yes, but
lane.
it was transferred
And-
5 feet, and it died within a week. A 30-year-old oak.
Yeah, that one, the contractor, which we're not proposing any relocations.
Doesn't matter. Whoever does the work is kill trees.
It died. It died.
That
It
tree
can
did-
happen.
that tree did die.
For transferring it, I don't want to miss it. It was 30 years old.
That was one tree and it died.
So
It died.
that's not correct. It has to be done properly. It has to be done properly.
it
So
died.
can we go over the concepts quickly so everyone can, and then we'll do questions at the end. Can we do that?
Who's
Do you
going
wanna
to
go-
oversee the trees? Because you guys can make concepts and you guys can say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, the trees can die. And you have nobody. You're not an arborist. You have plenty. You could have brought any of the arborists here.
So,
And you didn't bring any of them.
so the qualification of
And you
arbor.
can't answer his question
And that
whether
tree
a tree
died.
will die or not. If one tree dies that's 30 or 40 or 50 years old, that's one too many
So on average,
in this city.
well, on average every year, due to health concerns, we remove approximately 125 trees a year.
That's not what we're talking
So-
about, though. If they have a problem, that's understandable, and you should replace it. And in 30 years, it'll grow. But if you're removing or you're transferring or you're
not proposing.
imposing on their root system,
Yeah, we
you can kill a tree or kill 2 or 5, and after it happens, it's too late.
So for example,
Because
Miracle
the
Mile,
white people aren't going to care.
Miracle Mile, the oaks were preserved there.
Don't bring up Miracle Mile.
So can we go through the concepts quickly?
So, folks, let's go through the concepts quickly, and then we can have a Q&A, and Maria, you'll be first. Okay? All right, how long are you going to take? Very short, please.
All right, you just heard there's 5 arborists. Yes, there's 5 certified arborists that work for the city of Coral Gables. Only one is a full-time arborist that takes care of trees. Talking to Mr. Dennis Miller, I found out that the arborists do not go around the city finding what's wrong with the trees. They expect the people that trim the trees to tell them. Guess what? The people that trim the trees did not tell him about those 3 that he found when he walked with us. So only one is one certified arborist who is responsible for trees. If you go online and you look at the budget for the city, you will see that there are 0 arborists listed on the budget. There are landscape architects, there are supervisors, there are all kinds of things, no arborists. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm glad that Ms. Swain was here because, yes, when Ms. Keller was writing the grant, Ms. Swain and her husband were asked by email to provide a letter of support for the grant. Ms. Swain and her husband are bicyclists. They're very involved. I admire that. More power to them. But what about the rest of us? How come they did not ask the community to provide a letter of support? Because they knew the answer. And this is what the problem is. The city employees know more than we do. They know what's best for us, and we need to put a stop to that.
That's why we are here listening to you.
Is any of what she said wrong, or is
So
that true?
the arborist, we have. Okay.
About the letters?
Yeah, you're
About
listening
the letters,
retroactively.
Jessica? Is that true or not?
In 2014, the City Commission unanimously adopted a bicycle and pedestrian master plan. And during that commission meeting, we were directed to pursue grant funding to implement the pedestrian and bicycle master plan. We were directed to do so. You can read the transcripts, it's right there, by the City Commission. We were directed to pursue grant funding to implement the bicycle and pedestrian master plan. The bicycle and pedestrian master plan was funded with or without grants. So they wanted us to pursue grant funding in order to facilitate the implementation process. So that's what we did. We applied for it.
Wait, Sylvia.
That is. So, the next question was, did we request Bike Walk Coral Gables to provide a letter of support? Yes, we did, and we did it by email. That's correct. And okay, I am telling you that I wrote an email to Bike Walk Coral Gables, for which the Swains, as part.
Let her talk, guys. Let her talk. Let's see what her explanation is.
I've answered the question. The question is, I did request a letter of support when we were applying for the grant as directed by commission.
Jessica, may I please ask you a question?
Okay.
May I ask a
So
question?
we're gonna get back to the trees and the presentation.
When in 2014, when you guys applied for this grant, how did you decide on Alhambra Circle? How did
All
you
right,
decide on
let me just explain, because I think one of the reasons we're here is because everybody wants transparency and clarity. And let's not forget that the city works for us. The staff works for us. Okay? So what Ms. Keller just said, because I investigated this part on my own, and she's correct. In 2015, she applied for a grant specifically to Alhambra Circle, bicycle lanes. In that grant, which all of you can access online, it specifically says that there was community engagement and community support for bike lanes, not pedestrians, bike lanes. And what she did the night before at 9 o'clock in the evening, because she realized that she didn't have any community support, because none of us had had one meeting, none of us had received one letter, none of us had asked for bike paths. When she realized that she needed to have that, because it was a material part of the submission to the federal government, to the FDOT, what she did is she called, not Bike Walk, she called in the email of Debbie Swain and John Swain, who are here today, and you can see these emails because I got them as a public request information. What she said is, hey guys, I know you may not be able to give me this because you need authorization from Bike Walk Board, but if you can, here are the two things I need as support, as evidence of community support. What did John Swain do? He said, no man, you don't need, we don't need to have a board meeting. Let me just send it to you. So he did on Bike Walk letterhead, exactly cut and paste Ms. Keller's 2 paragraphs saying that they supported bike lanes at Alhambra Circle. And that was submitted to the federal government, claiming that she had community support. I ask any of you, did any of you ever hear about a bike lane in 2014, 2015? No. So bottom line is that that was a submission based on a false statement.
Hi there, good morning. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia is my great neighbor from across the street. Been neighbors for 18 years. She's wonderful.
You're not on Alhambra.
And her, you know who I am?
Who are you?
Yeah, you see it on the back? Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
If you're going to listen, I'll talk. But if not, I won't.
Go ahead.
Robert Ruano. I'm the current chair of Bike Walk Coral Gables. Let me first say Maria Cruz over here, was at the first two Transportation Advisory Board meetings where the bike plan was discussed, and she signed in and spoke about other issues. But she'll stand up here today and tell you that you were never notified, that the public never had, that the public never had an opportunity to opine. They sent it out through, like they do commission meetings. They advertise.
Young man, I'll give it back to you. This young man has a statement. No, I'll let you. No, that's.
Oh, come on.
Citizens of Coral Gables. Citizens of Coral Gables.
Just the mic.
Interruption, yelling, does not beget good discussion. There's simply no way that we're going to do this, that we're going to shut down this bike lane if we're yelling and we're not having a debate. We've got some of the most skilled orators in the community here. We don't need to yell, to interrupt. Look at our numbers.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, back to him.
Okay. So, those meetings were all publicly noticed. Transportation Advisory Board meetings are publicly noticed. City Commission meetings are publicly noticed. The Alhambra, before even 2014, the Alhambra, there was in the 2004 bike plan, which was passed before the City Commission. I wasn't a part of it. I had nothing to do with it. Alhambra was mentioned in it. There was a bike plan in it. In 2010, the City Commission adopted their comprehensive plan, including the bike plan in it. Okay, so this is the City Commission. In 2014, the City Commission, after two Transportation Advisory Board meetings, a City Commission meeting, and a community meeting at the Youth Center, adopted this plan, and then actually instructed the staff to get grants for it. And that's where we are. They're trying to implement the plan. They're asking you for opinions. They spent a lot of time, a lot of effort to try to explain the process. You can shut it down if you want, but you have to speak the truth. If you weren't there for it, I'm sorry that you didn't know about it. I'm a resident. I did know about it. I'm sorry you didn't. No, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I've been on the I was on the Transportation Advisory Board.
That's what you knew?
Hold on. For the last.
That's what you knew?
Listen to me. Can I speak? For the last 2 years. 2 years before. Wait. Let me speak. After this plan was passed, I was on the Transportation Advisory Board. Okay. I've been a member, and I was one of the founding members of Bike Walk Coral Gables. We are all volunteers. I've been accused, thanks to some people here, accused of being part of an engineering firm and working with an engineering firm that even has does projects for the city. What? I don't know.
It's a fact.
Okay? No, it's not a fact.
It's on paper.
No, it's not. Can I say something?
It's
Excuse me. You're an attorney,
Lawyer,
right? Okay. Wait. You're an attorney. It's a fact, right?
It's a fact.
Okay. Let me explain. Wait. Can I explain the fact? Okay. The fact is that the Lochner firm put my firm on their team. Hold on a second. Wait. When they submitted a bid.
And got the bid.
And they got the bid. They sent me a contract, and I did not sign it. I never became part of their team. That is a fact. And it went to the...
See any letters saying
Okay,
that word.
well, I'll send it to you. But it went to the Ethics Commission, and the Ethics Commission said there was no conflict because it was...
resigned before you went to the Ethics
No. You want to read it? I'll email it to you later.
resigned
Sylvia?
before you went to the
No,
Ethics
Sylvia,
Commission.
it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that I was never part of their team, and that's the fact. All she's trying to do, all these people are trying to do, to those of you that weren't part of the process, is trying to scare you. They tried to scare you. They tried to scare you with the public process before. They're scaring you with the trees. They're scaring you with all these things, with this big conspiracy against you, when your city commissioners were the ones that put this here. Okay? You can vote against it, but at the end of the day, you can be happy with saying, if it stops, you can be happy with saying you're the ones that stopped bike lanes and sidewalks on Alhambra. Great for you. You can tell your kids and grandkids that you did that. Wonderful. Those people will continue to walk in the street, okay? Like my neighbor that pushes her little thing in the street, okay? All right? Go see her. Her name is Sophia, okay? All right? You're not going to say, please. please. The trees, they told you the trees will be saved, okay? Okay, one final thing, okay? Because if you believe in facts, Sylvia, I will send you an email today with the Ethics Commission thing, okay? No, it's not, okay? I'll send it to you. And you don't need to listen to gadflies that don't do anything, but go to meetings and complain about things. I don't mean you.
I know you don't, but you don't need to insult either, because that's very insulting.
You told me that I took money. That
All right, let's have order, please. Let's have order. Let's have order. Robert, please. So, okay. All right.
Yeah, go ride a bike.
We can continue.
Chill out, Robert.
Wow. We can continue to discuss the sections and tell you give you information so that you can make an informed decision, and it's your decision. Okay, so what?
Good morning. My name is Rafael de los Reyes. I moved out of Coral Gables a year ago, but I lived here 45 years. The question that I would have, and I don't have a dog in this fight today, but the question I have is, you build these bike lanes, right? I would imagine that it's a good thing, but you're asking the citizens of Coral Gables to sacrifice, right? When the utilization of these bike lanes are most likely going to be from people outside the city of Coral Gables. That's one. The other problem is that these bike lanes are going to, we can look at all the data in the Miami Herald, all the reports that come out, they are a lot of accidents that are caused by this. I've seen the pelotons coming down, people being killed on Rickenbacker Highway. But more important than that, George Merrick founded the city in 1926. He had a vision for the city. Right? And the canopies, the trees, are what make Coral Gables Coral Gables. And this is why it pained me to have to move out of Coral Gables, but I'm still very, very dear to it. And I think it's unfair to ask the citizens of Coral Gables to allow people from other municipalities to use and impose this on them. That's just my comments.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you. And we're sorry that you left Coral Gables. We're going to get back to the sections, and I just want to make a comment that there are people already every day driving through our city. They're in cars, but there are people from everywhere else, and so one of the reasons why we embarked on this, because the policy is backed up by the fact that there's a right-of-way out there, and that right-of-way should be used in a manner that is safe for all modes of transportation. That means the pedestrian, that means the person that might be riding on a bike, and that also means the automobile driver. And that's one of the reasons why we pursued this project, and why the policy has been adopted by the commission, and the commission asked us to do this. Okay, but wait, listen. So one more from you, and then we're going to get back to the sections, and then whatever time we have left, we can go ahead and we discuss.
This is the first time I've ever been here. I've been living in Coral Gables for more than 10 years. These are my two boys. We're very active, physically active. We want something that's going to help us keep safe and physically active. At the same time, because it's our first time being at this meeting, we want to hear both sides of the story. So I am really trying to get information. So when it comes across that people can't speak, it makes me feel like this is a one-directional move that I have no control over. And I don't feel that way. And I feel one of the things that could come into place that can make it fair and have support, because if we are citizens, voting residents of the city, we want to hear that. I want to hear it. And I would love to see option 1, 2, and 3. That's a great suggestion, because I think I appreciate everything you guys are doing, every single one of you. And I would love to be able to vote my commissioners, vote for the people, the mayor, because I'm supporting what the city is about. So that's all I'm asking. I would love to hear both sides.
Thank you. And we are trying to hear both sides here and do it in a respectful manner. And I appreciate your comments. So that said, is it Brooke or you that's going to discuss the sections?
Okay, so we're going to go through these sections, and when we wrap up, if you have specific questions that you'd like to talk to us about these boards, we're happy to answer your questions. So what we did is we took photographs along sections of the roadway, and you heard Brooke say that different sections look different ways. And so that's what this is, a representation. We don't have a picture in front of everyone's house. We just took pictures along the different sections. In this particular section, we're standing at Valencia and we're looking north. So you can see Coral Way in the background. It was brought to my attention that the existing dimensions for Alhambra Circle are not correct here. The existing dimensions are less than 20 feet. Here we have it noted as 20 feet. The proposed, we have two options here, and Brooke already mentioned that, we know one is not feasible, and that is the addition of the bike lanes, because the bike lanes encroach on the roots of the trees. So what is preferred, if the project moves forward, is leave the roadway the same width that it is right now and have 2 8-foot sidewalks on each side of the roadway. So that's what this is showing here. And notice I said, if the project moves forward. In this section,
What's the dimension of the green space in between the sidewalk and the road?
that's a very good question. And here you can see, right now you have 6-foot sidewalks in that section. They would go to 8 feet. So there will be a 2-foot reduction of the swale space. It does not impact parking. The swale width is still greater here than in many places in Coral Gables. So that's what that dimension is. And I'm going to get through these boards.
For parking, are the cars going to fit?
Yes, because it's still wider than many places.
So what is the distance between the 8-foot to the street?
Okay, so and so what, how we want to get through this is so that, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get through all of these, and you can talk to us about it when we get through all of them, because we're having a really hard time getting through what it is we came here today.
Jessica, I have one just short question, please. You said that the preferred, that is yours, or the staff's preferred.
We would suggest this.
The 2 8-foot, okay. This path runs for 4.5 miles, 4.6 miles. You're talking about both sides of the street, is that correct?
In this section.
Is it at both sides of the street?
That's
is that
correct. Yes.
Okay. If you take that 8-foot wide path on both sides of the street, what you are doing is you are limiting 380,000 square feet of green for 380,000 square feet of cement. And this will still encroach on the trees. And I can point out to you a point where it's absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
You won't be able to do it because there is just not the room. You're talking about taking that much cement. I mean, it's an airport runway, for God's sakes, that amount of cement.
More importantly is that sidewalks cannot legally be used for bicycles. So you're going to have women with
That's
strollers.
not correct.
Yes, it is correct.
No.
You're going to have women with strollers and little kids and people zooming by on bicycles with the walkers and the people with strollers. And so I don't understand how that is more safe for pedestrians when what you're doing is you're combining bikers and pedestrians and little kids together. To me, that makes no sense whatsoever. Very dangerous.
So a shared use path is actually what this is, and this is split so that there is space identified for people who are riding a bike and people who are pushing strollers, walking the dogs, whatever the case may be. So,
do you have statistics on the accidents on that corner?
We do have the crash data. We don't have it here with us.
Do you know why the visibility is non-existent at that corner? If you do that, it's gonna make it even worse. You can't even see if there's a car coming from the north or from the south. You can't see. I have Valencia.
I have the
and
reports
Alhambra.
with me, and I have the photographs.
And so part of the project does include identifying these types of issues and developing mitigation measures, meaning so if there's a high crash location that as part of this project, it is also a traffic calming project, we would address those issues that you identified by providing us that information.
I think that's the only
no,
part
because
of the
this is a
project that I
concept,
would approve.
and we are
Only part I would approve.
we're in the conceptual phase. So the other I see the pictures and I understand this. So and so I don't know how you came about your calculation, but there is a significant portion of Alhambra Circle that already has sidewalks. So I don't know if you just automatically, I don't know how you got to that calculation, but I just want to mention that there's a significant portion that already has sidewalks. And some of those portions are already 8 feet wide.
The calculation is simple arithmetic.
So I'm going to go to the next section.
I have very important questions. You
Yes, and I mentioned that was that was not accurate. Yes.
You don't have the facts right.
Yeah, why talk to us?
How can we trust you to do anything else right now? Because before you present
Take the mic.
Take
the mic.
We spoke to our consultants. Our consultants said, absolutely. I'm just answering your question. Your question is as to the accuracy of these dimensions, right? So we spoke to our consultants. Our consultants said they confirmed that this is a 20-foot paper.
Your consultants are wrong. We measured it.
If the consultants are wrong, we will address it.
Your consultants are being paid. They're vendors.
If consultants are wrong, we will correct it. Absolutely.
So you're asking us to
If
vote
you
for
are
something
using
that you're lying to us
consultants,
about.
whatever information they give you is what you're giving us should be 100% accurate. Because if you're not getting the right information, then you're going to sit at your desk and use the wrong information to make a wrong decision that is going to impact us negatively.
Yes, yes.
I agree with your point. I agree with your point. I will say that if this is 19 feet or it's 18 feet, that doesn't really materially affect us. Okay? It doesn't.
No, it does.
The right information. Plus, there's a street there that is going to be only 10 feet wide with all the traffic that 57th Avenue has when it crosses the Rotunda Blue Road. Do you expect the bicycle path to be safe for the bicycle people, where you only have 10 feet for an excessive amount of traffic?
A 10-foot lane is very common
Your
throughout the city.
consultants should be embarrassed that they have the wrong information.
No, how can you
I've
say
been
that's wrong information?
I've been a consultant and I've made mistakes. Everyone here has made mistakes. Everyone here has made mistakes. You're right.
Our consultant is going to make a statement about that.
All right, so all the dimensions that you see on the boards are based on the survey that was taken. So all the dimensions that are on the boards were based on a survey that was taken from the project limits. So the dimensions are rounded up to the nearest foot. In this particular case, there was 19.8. It was rounded up. It's not exactly 10 foot. We looked. Dimensions you see are near to where this photo was taken, and we took our best estimate based on what the survey that was given to us.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next board. We are standing in about the same location, but this time we're looking south. And you can see it's a very different look here. We have very large mature trees. Here, this is the section where these are young trees that have been recently planted. In this section,
When were they planted? Was it within the last 4 years? Yes, they were.
They were planted as part of the tree succession project, which my son's 4.5, so they were between 3.5 to 4.5 years ago.
After you guys asked for the grant.
Yes.
I don't know.
Probably.
Yes, they were.
But that was part of the tree succession project that was.
A waste of money, waste of money. That's a good point.
So in this section, as you notice, that we have younger trees here. The approximate width of the roadway in this section is 20 feet. So the roadway section in the shared use path scenario remains the same. And just so you know, the entire corridor as part of this project, it's going to be repaved. Just so you know, that's all part of this project. We will, there would be, right here you have existing sidewalks. They're existing 6-foot sidewalks. And then it would be converted to an 8-foot shared use path in this scenario. We also have the option of having bike lanes here. The travel lanes for the automobile driver would remain the same at 10 feet wide, and then approximately 10 feet wide. And then we would have 5-foot bike lanes. So that's looking south at Valencia.
You can't have the bike lanes up on this section, but now you transition half block later, you have bike lanes. How does the bicycle just go from the sidewalk out onto the street?
It's a very good question, and we're not at that phase. As we mentioned, this is all conceptual.
They expect you to do a poll, and they don't have that information for you.
So we're getting mixed signals here, right? We're getting mixed signals from you. You don't want the project to move forward, right? Right? You don't want but you want more information as to how the project might move forward. So, and that's what we're trying to provide to you. Now, look. So what happens is this: if you think that the information is insufficient for you, insufficient, inaccurate, whatever you want to call it, fine. Then vote and oppose the project. Then oppose the project. Okay.
We'll get rid of the commissioners, don't worry about it. And then you have to get new commissioners.
So we need to make the decision based on
And then you might be out of a job.
Fair enough.
New commissioners and they're out of a job.
With this tree thing, I had many discussions here with your people, and what they did not understand is that they lost very good coconut palms because you had to opt out of the system. So you got a little door hanger, which many people didn't see, and that meant if you wanted to keep your coconut palms, you had to call up and say, please do not take my coconut palms. I was practically chained to one across the street from me because the owner was not there to call in and say, please keep this tree. It had a big pink cross saying it was diseased. It was going to be cut down. It is not diseased. It is still there. There are plenty of coconuts. It was a very fraudulent thing. Mahoganies are beautiful. But if you go to FIU, the extension service that we're all paying for, all this information, he will say mahogany is a very nice street tree if there are no sidewalks. They have very aggressive roots. They are going to upheave all these new sidewalks and bike paths you put in.
So I appreciate your comments. So the idea is to treat roots in a way that would provide a permanent solution sidewalk-wise, and also at the same time preserve the tree roots. And there are ways of doing this. It's done all the time.
But the aesthetics of the roots are beautiful. There's one there.
That's a good point. It's. So we would at that point we would try to meander around it. We'd figure that out. But so there are different situations all up and down the corridor. We have to look at each and every one of them individually. But the idea is to preserve the trees. We value the trees as much as you do.
Okay, so we're going to go to this section of roadway. This is at Malaga, looking south. And in this particular section, the roadway is about 25 feet wide. You have an 8-foot existing sidewalk in this section from Sevilla to Malaga. You don't have a sidewalk on the other side of the street. You have one 8-foot wide sidewalk on one side of the street. In this scenario, which is a shared use path option, residents would gain 2.5 feet of additional swale. The existing 8-foot sidewalk would remain, and then there would be an 8-foot sidewalk on the other side of the street. So there would be an addition for people who live on this side of the street.
You're adding a sidewalk too on that side?
There's an existing 8-foot wide sidewalk on the southbound side of the street. There is nothing on the northbound. There's on one side of the street, there's a sidewalk. On the other side of the street, there is not a sidewalk.
So you're proposing building a sidewalk on the side by
The shared use path option, you have to have one on each side of the road. So the scenarios have the shared bicycling infrastructure or bike lane on both sides of the road. The bike lane option. We have the roadway for cars would be narrowed to 10 feet in each direction. There would be 5-foot bike lanes. The 8-foot sidewalk here would remain. And there would be an additional 6-foot wide sidewalk on the other side of the street.
So it's going to look unbalanced, because you're going to have 6 feet on one side and 8 feet on the other. That's not very aesthetic.
If everyone insisted on 8-foot, we would do 8-foot.
So what are you going to have for the swale? What's the amount of green space you're going to have? You guys don't have that documentation all the way around, all the way down. You don't have it. You don't know exactly how many
And
feet.
like
You only have
city manager said,
documentation for
we
the
have.
cement. You don't have documentation for how much green space we're going to have.
Well, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is once we get through all of these sections, and our offer stands, we will set up appointments with every single person here and show you in front of your house.
Between now and Monday?
Because
it's Tuesday morning.
Well, Tuesday morning is a commission hearing.
Well, that's when they're going to vote. Letting it down.
So, and that is absolutely your prerogative. So we're just here trying to give you some information.
I have information requested.
Excuse me. So if you want to know what the green space is in each situation here, just add up the numbers and subtract it from 70.
That's your job.
I'm sorry that it didn't include
And your
it.
consulting firm.
I'm sorry that it wasn't included.
Again.
If you like, I can do that for you. In this case right here, it's 20 plus 8 is 28 plus 8 is 16.
What's the distance? What is the distance?
I'm trying to get there. 20. Let's assume that
No assumptions. No assumptions. I want accurate information.
20.
No, there's not 20 feet of green space.
Wait, can I get there? I'm trying to get to the math, please. 10, 20, 28, 36. Subtracted from 70 is 34 feet. Divide that by 2, 17, 17. This is a 70-foot right-of-way. That's what I'm saying. If this is 20...
That is wrong.
Okay. All right. So all the way around. Every number here is inaccurate. Okay. We're going to confirm all the numbers. But then don't approve it. Don't approve it. Don't approve it. No. This is we're all doing our jobs. I want everyone again to understand this, that we are all doing our jobs. That's it. Wait. So, yeah.
I have a question. Let's set aside the trees. I think everybody agrees with the trees. We heard about the trees. I'm very concerned about safety. And I've spoken to the gentleman beside you who has has pictures of it right on Hammer, and I'd like to hear from him about his experience with safety on our Hammer Circle, because I understand there are no safety studies. So if you could just, gentlemen, please, David, could you go ahead? David, right? Because of safety. I want to hear what he has to say.
And he's an attorney also.
My name's David Howard. I live on the corner of Valencia and Alhambra. Part of the swale is in the photos, both looking south. Alhambra. We have had 18 car accidents on our corner.
That's another issue.
We've had 18 accidents on our corner in about the last 3 years. And it all involves the issue of speed on Alhambra and cars running the stop signs on Valencia. And some of these accidents are serious. This one happened, it's not in the database yet. This is a serious rollover accident.
Rollover.
And there were injuries in this accident. And the bottom line is Alhambra Circle is just not a good place to have a bike path. And I would also challenge the width of the road there because I measured it myself and it's 19 feet, not 20. And I don't believe that the sidewalks in front of my house are 6 feet either. I think they're 4 feet.
Exactly.
So the bottom line is with that incorrect data, you can't get accurate measurements.
Exactly.
But the point of it is, from a safety perspective, this is not a safe street for bike paths in any event. And to say that you would use the alternative of a mixed-use sidewalk 8 feet wide, well, that takes away a lot of the swale, number one. And number two, to be honest with you, because I live and look out the window all the time, there's very little bike traffic on Alhambra Circle. And what there is families using the sidewalk. And that's really the only safe way to ride a bike on Alhambra Circle. And putting those bike lanes in, it's going to turn it into Red Road. And I don't want that in front of my house.
Thank you, David. We will definitely take into account your concerns regarding that intersection. It's probably on our radar already, right? So are you aware? This project is intended to address it.
But you're not talking about that.
Because we haven't gotten there. Because we keep getting. You have multiple questions. We have asked every question you have.
No, you
answered.
haven't answered. No,
Okay.
that's just it. You haven't been able to answer
fine.
it.
So this project is intended to improve safety along the corridor. That's my answer.
How?
Traffic calming by slowing down. How?
If
We
you're-
have been.
if you're-
Have you attended any other meeting?
Yes.
And you
Yes,
didn't-
I attended the walkthrough. I've attended every meeting since I've
Good.
been notified.
So I'm sorry that this
And I've
information
been
did
at the
not get to you.
commission
This
meetings,
information did not get to you. I'm sorry that.
I've been.
But
No, you don't have the answers.
What would you like me to answer?
At the walkthrough, you guys said that there was going to be circles that
Get
were
the
going to be
microphone.
implemented. And I don't see
Get
any
the microphone. Guys, listen up.
At the walkthrough, you specifically told me that on the corner that we were just talking about with the traffic and the accidents, that you guys were going to be addressing the circles to calm the flow of traffic. I live right here, and cars go, even though there's a red light right there, they're speeding at 40 and 50 miles an hour. You're not addressing that. And now you're proposing in this section of the street, which is the one that I know more about because I've lived there since 2001, you're proposing to keep the same, well, inaccurate, whatever, 20 feet. So how is it that you're addressing that and you're going to try to put, I don't know, 2 or 3 bikers a week that may ride through there on a Saturday or Sunday morning at more risk?
Okay. So then you did have the answer as to traffic calming in the circles.
But you're not addressing that with your, you need to
But the
address
circles are part of this project, and there are several circle locations.
But they're not here, they're not specifically here.
But you've already heard of them, right? You've already heard of them.
People don't know how to drive on circles. They don't know. They don't know because no, you don't. So show me where the circles are going to be. And what study was done?
That's okay. All right, she moved. Dan asked to turn it down.
Is that it? Are we done? Is that over?
We need to adjust the volume at the request of some of the participants. Can everyone still hear me?
No.
So, We presented the locations of the proposed circles during the September 25 meeting. So we presented those at that meeting. We did not develop a design for those circles because we're not at that stage yet. Okay, so we would have to advance the project further into design to design traffic circles. We've identified the locations, and the locations of the circles are south of Bird Road.
Shouldn't the traffic
Now,
be a priority? That's what we're facing now.
yes, we have traffic circles.
So they're not addressing this area.
Traffic circle, people here in Florida don't know how to drive in traffic
So,
we're not Europe.
as I've mentioned, this process, this engagement process, is for you to tell us more about the corridor that we may not know. And if you have identified this as a high crash location that hasn't popped up on our radar, we have the crash statistics, and it did not come out as a high crash location. We will revisit it. So then, like I said earlier, beginning of this meeting, we will develop something to make that intersection more safe, part of this project.
So let me ask you a question. Is there any other section that we're talking about that has had more than 18 accidents?
18 accidents is a lot of accidents.
That is
You
a lot
should
of
know
accidents,
this.
and
You should know
I will have to verify that
We need a few
information.
people killed for them to pay. I mean, the accident is not just,
So,
you know, somebody dies.
I'm going to move on to the next section. This particular section is that Blue Road looking north.
What happened between this section and Bird Road? The bridge. What happened to that area?
The
You
bridge,
sent us
has
a
been brought up
diagram
to
which
us,
none
and,
of us could understand. We
And
can
actually,
read it.
I have to thank Janet for bringing the bridge concern to our attention, because she brought it to our attention a couple of months ago. The bridge is not a high crash location based on our.
It's a very dangerous curve.
Somebody has to be killed. Until somebody gets killed,
and
nothing's going to happen.
So, based on the crash data that we have,
Several people have to die before anything gets done.
that's what I'm telling you.
Be aware of that. Yeah, but it's an accident. You know, we need dead people.
We have the whole corridor. And so, the house, I'm going to back up. The intention of this particular meeting was to show you the concepts that we have, and also for us to talk about the next steps related to polling. This was not a meeting intended to get into the details. We've discussed details at previous meetings. We push out information. You're asking a lot of good questions. And so what we will do is, you want that information, and we're going to push it out to you. You want to know how many crashes have occurred on the corridor? We're going to push that information out to you.
But why haven't you done that already? The vote is on Tuesday.
You sent us a
So,
diagram
also,
of
one of the
changes
things
to
I
the
want to
bridge.
mention
How
is
come
that
it's not here to explain it to us?
the vote that you mentioned that's happening on Tuesday was not scheduled. It's not part of the process. So
Can you explain how it's not part of the process? A resolution to get Alhambra Circle bike lanes outside of the plan is for you guys to cease all this stuff.
Okay.
How can it not be?
that was not scheduled part of this project. We were informed when you were informed.
Right. So you work for us, right? So you understand that the resolution will kill this.
Speed up so that you can inform us so we can make a decision.
I would love to have everything finished by Tuesday, but just like you didn't know, we didn't know. So, going back to Blue Road, do you want to go through? Do you want to go through the sections? Okay.
I have no idea.
This is Blue Road looking north. The roadway at this location is approximately 26 feet wide. Have existing 6-foot sidewalks. In the shared use path option, the roadway would be 20 feet wide, and you would have 2 8-foot shared use paths. You would gain additional green space. Additional swale space, I'm sorry. And in the sidewalk and bike lane option, we have 10-foot narrowed lanes, the 5-foot bike lane. Someone had asked a question about how do you transition from a bike lane through a roundabout. That's all worked out in the detailed design. So the existing roadway is about 26 feet wide. We have 6 feet sidewalk, 6-foot sidewalk. You're going to gain 6 feet of green space and then minus 2. So you get 2 additional feet of green space in this scenario. This is looking south on Sienna. The existing condition, we're about 26.5 feet of roadway space. You have 6-foot existing sidewalks on both sides. And I would like to get through this. There are people that do want to hear.
My area, so I want to hear what she's saying.
In this, as I was saying, approximately 26.5 feet wide roadway. 6-foot sidewalks on both sides. Shared use path option narrows the roadway to 10 feet in each direction. So we're going from 26.5 to 20. You're getting 3.5 and 3 feet of additional swale space. The 6-foot sidewalk is converted to 8 feet. So in the end, there's a net gain of green space in this section. In the bike lane and sidewalk scenario, 10-foot travel lanes with 5-foot bike lanes adjacent to it. So you go from 26.5 feet to 30 with 6-foot sidewalks that remain in this scenario. This is at Cantoria. We have the same roadway width here, 26.5 feet. A reduction to 20 feet for travel lanes. There's no at all in this section. You would get 3.5 feet of green space encroaching into the roadway, so we narrowed on one side, 3 feet on the other, with the addition of 8-foot sidewalk shared use paths on either side. There are no sidewalks in this section currently. And then the bike lane scenario, travel lanes are narrowed to 10 feet in each direction, 5-foot bike lanes, and 6-foot sidewalks. So, 8 foot is what we need for a shared use path. 6 feet is what is standard width for sidewalk in the city of Port St. So that's why you're seeing that difference between 8 feet and 6 feet. So those are all of the scenarios that we have for you. We will answer your questions at each scenario. We have our consultants who have the actual details here with them. And we also remain committed to visiting you at your home and measuring everything out. We've met with residents already and showed them where the various scenarios, what would happen to the road, the sidewalk in front of their house. And we continue to do that at your convenience.
Microphone, microphone, get the microphone. Closer, the microphone closer.
I don't understand why we need to replicate the same thing 1 kilometer away. We have beautiful sidewalks, beautiful bike paths, perfectly maintained. I walk there all the time. Why do we need to do the same thing 1 block away? I think you're stunning.
That's a question that comes up a lot. Again, Alhambra Circle is part of the Bicycle Pedestrian Master Plan that was adopted in 2004 and 2014. It is staff's responsibility to implement that plan until we're told to do otherwise. So, Alhambra Circle was identified in both of those plans. Now, the best way I can come up with a comparison would be the difference between riding your bike on Red Road versus Alhambra Circle would be the difference between driving your car on Interstate 95 and driving your car on Alhambra Circle. Very different.
It's only
Very
5 miles per difference. 5 miles per hour difference.
Very different. So, on and so that's the difference.
Si habla, viene lo de los
You go
landscaping
on
trucks,
Interstate
se van
95
a
travel
parquear en
long
medio de la
distance
calle de
very
Alhambra.
fast. Red
Los
Road
miércoles por la tarde.
travel long distance very fast. Alhambra Circle
That's
is
not
a
true.
neighborhood type
The area from
bicycle
8th Street to
facility.
University, people don't go that fast on Red Road.
So, Alhambra Circle is a neighborhood facility for people to be with their families.
Right, that's what we want.
And
For our families.
And Red Road is for the people who ride
You don't see even standard bicycles.
Has Miami-Dade County approved all these plans already?
This is part of the continuing process. And Miami-Dade
So
County
no,
is
what's the
involved.
answer to the question? Yes or no?
They cannot approve a project they don't have a design for.
But this is what we paid for before you go through this process. So you've never reached out.
But I can tell you, is if I went to the
But here's
Miami...
my question. Have you ever reached out to Miami-Dade County that they will approve making the streets smaller and putting the bike lanes? It's the only reason it's a collector street, or one of the main reasons, is because if there's a problem, you need to make sure that the fire trucks, the police, go through there. So my question is very basic. Have you gone to Miami-Dade County? Because if they would have told you no up front because it's a collector street, then it's a waste of money, everything we've done. So have you gone to Miami-Dade County?
Sylvia, I think you need to explain to the people because I don't think they understand what a collector street is, which is basically most of the residents in the city of Coral Gables are over the age of 40. We are, and we need fire service, we need ambulances, we need to be able to come. When you narrow the streets, right, and you make them narrower,
When you narrow the streets, right, it makes it more difficult for fire, ambulance, any kind of emergency vehicle, police, if you're being robbed, any kind of emergency vehicle to arrive to your house quicker. So what they're trying to do is, in order to accommodate bikers, which are probably going to come from outside of the city of Coral Gables, and they already have a bike path on Red Road, which is only 5 miles higher than the rate that you can drive on here. They're going to narrow your streets so that your police, your ambulance, your everything will arrive to your house later. And be more dangerous because they have to travel quickly and there's going to be a smaller space between them and the cars next to them.
I'd like an answer to my question, then, please.
Wait. Let me just say this. Every project that we do, every roadway project that we do, takes into account emergency services. Everyone. And they're fully integrated into the process, including traffic calming projects. So just
answer my question.
Answer that question. What's the question?
The question is, has anybody in the city, Jessica Teller, she's in charge of this project, has she or anybody in her staff consulted with Miami-Dade County that this entire project down on Alhambra Circle will be approved and fits within the standards of FDOT or Miami-Dade County
Once the project is designed, it will have to meet Miami-Dade County standards. The answer is I'm not sure. Have we had conversations?
So, Miami-Dade County approves 10-foot travel lanes. If we were to go to Miami-Dade County today with this concept, no, we have not, and I'm going to finish. Okay? But I'm going to finish. If I went to Miami-Dade County today and with this project, they would say, you're not showing me anything. I need a design. That's the way the process works. That's the way the process works.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Money being spent when Miami-Dade County may say this is a collector street, you can't narrow the street. So
I'm sorry.
All of this money with all of these consultants, these contractors, these surveyors, and you didn't have a plan yet. There was no.
Whatever we're going to do, Marvin.
There was no
whatever,
safety study.
Whatever we're going to do, Marvin, is going to meet standards. That's it. And we do know that money accepts templates traveling, sir. No, I am answering. But you have had ample time in this meeting. We need to move this. We need to move this forward. I know.
It'll be short. I promise.
I just want to make clear that everybody here understands that before the application to FDOT was submitted on in 2015, was it?
Yeah, 2015.
2015, that there were no traffic studies, no safety studies, no historical studies, no arborist studies. There were 0 studies. And that application is replete with misstatements, and that the grant was awarded under false pretenses.
Yep.
All right. So and now they're saying they still can't show us where this path is going to be. Apparently.
So let me get back to, there was a question earlier about traffic circles. I think this is specifically for you. Traffic circles: Robia Avenue, Encana Avenue, Antoria Avenue, Saria, Palancia, Mendavia, and Siena. Those are the proposed locations for the traffic.
Wait, I need to see that. They don't observe traffic circles.
What about the bridge?
This is traffic calming.
What about the
The bridge will also be addressed.
The bridge is going to be this stuff.
The bridge will also be addressed.
My question is, I'm trying to understand this for myself.
I'm trying to understand this for myself to make a good decision. And if this is, the purpose of this is for traffic calming, and I appreciate traffic calming, the fact that the 57th Avenue, we've been talking about the speed being too fast for bicycle lane there, and at 5 miles, it kind of throws me off. How can the bike path help traffic calming purposes if it's shown in 57 it's not calming? Because I think the traffic goes pretty fast there. So is it really traffic calming or just adding bike paths? This for me.
It's a complete project. It adds traffic calming and it adds safety. The bike path can be a traffic calming.
What do you mean?
Can be a traffic calming.
Are you serious? Are you serious about this?
How does that work? Because when you have narrower lanes, traffic slows down.
But only by 4% based on their consultant's data. So that's only 1.5 miles per hour less.
Okay.
So you're spending millions of dollars for this.
Okay. So
That's their data.
So bike paths can contribute to traffic calming.
Be kidding. I cannot believe it.
So
You believe us? You think
They think you're stupid.
Yeah, no, obviously we think. But I don't understand.
Excuse me, Janet, please.
How
I
can
have been very respectful of you, and now you're casting aspersions on me that I think all of you are stupid. Please, Janet. Please, you are a better person.
How can you promote narrowing of streets? Okay, as a reduction of speed, if it only reduced the speed by 4%. What is 4%?
But it does reduce speeds, right?
By 1.5 miles per hour?
That's ridiculous.
Is that not ridiculous? Everyone agrees. That's insulting to me.
It is accepted in the industry. It is accepted in the industry that narrower pavement widths reduce speeds.
By 4% based on the data from your consultant.
It's a combination of everything that's going to provide the traffic.
4%. But it's also going to reduce the speed of the ambulances and the police coming to your house.
We have traffic issues that are not being attended to, taken care of, and you're working on bike path.
No, wait.
Fix the traffic first
We at the same time that we're doing this, we're doing a citywide traffic calming.
At the same time,
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Listen, they know that reduction of the width is so helpful that on Garcia, which is already 10 feet or less, they added speed humps. So the narrowing of the street did nothing.
As I said earlier, Janet, it's a combination of all the measures that we're going to be integrated into this program.
when you add, I have a.
Did we finish with the cross sections?
I have a question.
Wait. Yeah.
Can you do them as a
It can be separate. It can be separate. It could be part of a separate process. So it's almost 12. We are essentially 50 minutes over our allotted time originally. We're gonna go till noon. So rather than an hour and a half, we have had 2 hours. We've had very good discussions. We could have had more. We would have been a little bit more civil, but we got to a point where we've been civil. So I said,
Calling us uncivil?
well, I'm calling what happened that some cases here are not civil.
That's offensive.
Okay.
That's offensive.
Well, okay.
What's it going to be about? What is it going to accomplish? We all show up and say no.
The vote is to no bike lanes on Alhambra Circle. That's the vote. No, it's the commission. It's the commission.
Go to the meeting. Go to the meeting. That's what we need to do. Because all of those commissioners.
Okay, so I have 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Let's be productive. I have you first, you sir second, and anyone here? You? I'm sorry, I don't know your names. So Dulce? Dulce, thank you. But before that, I want Brooke Dannemiller to make a statement.
Sorry, I just had an interesting conversation with one of the residents. She just left. I just wanted to clarify one thing. So next to trees, so for example here we have an existing 6-foot sidewalk. So if we widen that to 8 feet, at the actual tree where the existing 6-foot sidewalk is, we would narrow the sidewalk back down to 6 feet before going back to 8 feet. And the sidewalk, we can adjust the grade a little bit or make the concrete a little bit thinner and put rebar or welded wire fabric in it so that we don't impact the roots. And we have that flexibility with the trees. And if we have a tree that's really close, we have a material that's called Adapave. We use it in tree pits all the time. It's a 3/8 decorative stone with resin on it that we can get closer to the tree, and it's an ADA acceptable material, and we can match the color of the concrete. So where we have tree, that's why we can work with that width of the sidewalk on the trees on this side, because we have that ability with the concrete and reinforcement and the other material. And so the sidewalks on Country Club Prado are approximately 7.5 to 8.5 feet, depending on when you measure them. And that's right over here. It's 100 feet away. So
You can't have a double-use sidewalk with less than 8 feet. So you can have walkers and bikers on a sidewalk that is at maximum 6 feet together.
well, no, it's 8 feet on both sides. So in that scenario, I just wanted to address the tree issue, how we work around the trees,
But what about
and
the
how
walkers?
So we have walkers and bicyclists on Country Club Prado. On Maynada, we have 9.5 to 10.5 foot
No,
sidewalk.
not on the sidewalk. Not on the sidewalk. You have bicyclists on the street.
I have 10 minutes left, and
What he just said about narrowing and widening the bike path, you have a twisting bike path.
So
that's
let
even
me.
gonna
I want
be
to
more
clarify.
dangerous for
So
bikers.
the point I wanted to make was
And how about
she
the roads that grow?
was visualizing an asphalt path with white stripes and a bike on it. That is not what the 8-foot sidewalk is here. It's a Coral Gables beige, that pink colored concrete. We have a scoring pattern where we come in about 12 inches from each side. It's saw cut joints, so it's a good finish for walkers and scooters, bikes, whoever's using it. So from an aesthetic standpoint, it's going to look like a standard Coral Gables pink, Coral Gables beige sidewalk. And I wanted to explain how we can work around the roots.
How do you divide the walkers from the bikers?
You don't
You're not
have-
going to have any paint that shows which is the walker side and which is the
No,
biker side.
this is not like Old Cutler Trail. This is not
Stop the
a.
roots from growing
so-
and lifting up the bike path the way they
So,
already have done.
so the standard detail for Coral Gables doesn't have any steel in it. Next to trees, we will add rebar and welded wire fabric, which makes the sidewalk last much, much longer because it's reinforcement. We don't have frost thaw here, so we don't do it because it's more cost effective, but at trees we would. So on the striping, there's no white striping on it's just standard pink concrete, correct?
That's going to be a nightmare. So there is striping, there is paint on the
Just-
sidewalks.
The shared use.
Yes,
So
so
that's just the
there is
bicycle
paint,
symbol, correct?
There is paint on your sidewalk.
But it's not
the typical
but it's not
pink Coral
it's
Gables.
not the asphalt. So
No, but
that's
not on the sidewalk.
So it was, I just want to clarify because that was
So you have striping on the sidewalk.
it's not stripes. It's the
There's
bicycle
no-
symbol.
there's
It's
no
just the bicycle
striping.
symbol.
Oh, but there's pictures of bikes on the sidewalk.
So wait,
No
so
paint on the sidewalk.
all right.
Good luck on that.
running short on time, and I'm sorry, but I recognize this lady next, and I'm not sure that you raised your hands earlier. Okay. You, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you already asked questions. I recognize.
Where is the water going to go if everything is paved over? I haven't
There,
heard one
there,
word about the
there's gonna be enough swale to accommodate the watershed.
We are going to lose.
Have you done those calculations?
There are other areas where there's actually going to be more swale than exists now. But
Show me where.
I have to look into it. But I can tell you, there is an area where the swale goes from it gains 2 feet on either side. There is, down towards the south. So, I'm sorry, you already. So, let me get to the folks that I recognized before, and if it's not 12, then you will all continue. Yes, your question.
Several comments. Number one, I live by Red Road, so I see the bike path by Red Road all the time. It does not prevent traffic. The cars drive right through the bike path. So if you're adding another bike path in Alhambra, that's going to sandwich me in, number one. And then you don't know whether you're going to use the spandex bikers on there or the traditional bikers. So you might have crashes between traditional bikers and the spandex bikers. Number two, on the traffic calming circles, I all the time go on the one on Blue Road. Nobody pays attention to that. They should yield the right of way to each person entering the circle. Exactly. And they don't. Ran right in. I think there should be maybe stop signs along the road, but we don't want to have a hopscotch of traffic calming device in every other block. Third is, what is the cost of all of the studies and the ongoing maintenance of these? Right, who's paying for it? Is it really necessary just to have something decorative that nobody wants? And whatever resin or things you put along these trees, whatever we plant, how is that going to affect our water table? And is it going to go into our drinking waters?
There's a lot of questions there. Regarding drainage, it will not affect any kind of drinking water quality, and it won't affect water quality at any of the water. Regarding the got a question about traffic circle. Traffic circle will slow people down. Whatever rules. Yeah, you can't go around the traffic circle at 30 miles an hour. And you're talking Mario Andretti there. You're talking Mario Andretti there. But you can't. I would stand there with.
And you will see that wasted flour when you spend the city spends you and you will see how the traffic circle works.
And so there was another question too about the cost. Once we have a final design, we'll be able to come up with a cost. We can come up with what's been spent today, and we can put it on the website. Maintenance is already accounted for in the public works budget for all of our branches.
Flour works very well. No light, no water. It's awesome.
Money can always be used for something else.
No nada. Yeah.
Money can, well, that's not my decision.
1.6 million. Okay. With that money,
Okay.
make this a park.
No, so I think I recognize you.
Getting rid of the green areas, the impact that would have on the water retention. Anybody done those calculations?
So the areas where there's a reduction in swale, we still have enough storage in the soil to be able to handle any drainage. And in fact, there are areas where we're going to have greater swale.
How is that going to happen? The greater swales. You're actually
We're going to reduce the pavement buffer.
add grass?
Yes. No, but there's an area where sidewalks already exist at 8 feet, and then we're making the swale
Much area are you talking about?
No, but I know there's an area like
There is
that.
no plan, right?
There is no, we're not there yet. We need to move forward based on what happens on the polling, which happens next month. So we never did talk, and this is important, we never did talk about polling, okay? Now I realize that there is a commission hearing on Tuesday, right?
That's not the polling.
That is not the polling.
So it's not
That
gonna
is
end
not the
on
polling.
Tuesday.
But there is an item, and we sent everyone an email explaining what the item was about, which is about to eliminate the bike lanes as part of the Alhambra Complete Streets project at this time. That is the item that's going to be discussed on Tuesday. Okay? But I do need to tell you about the polling.
It's going to be voted on Tuesday.
Discussed? Oh, you don't know if they're going to vote on it. You know it's an agenda, but it's an agenda item. The commission will discuss it. The commission will... Marvin, let me finish, please. Marvin, let me finish. The commission will discuss it. And whether they vote on it or not, that's their call. There are many, many agenda items that often get put on the agenda, that get deferred, get tabled. They don't vote on it. There has to be a second for a vote, right? I encourage you all to be there. Encourage you all to be there. That's why we sent an email. Rocky. Oh, that's the way I read it. That's the way I read it. That's the way I read it.
And if the resolution passes, the bike path is over.
Yes.
Tuesday,
Yes.
correct?
That is my understanding. That is my understanding. Yes. Yes, sir. That's my understanding. That's my understanding. And by the way, we sent you an email. We sent an email to advise you of this agenda item. Who is next? I'm sorry, but
Could you repeat that about the voting on
Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Right. We did send an email. If you have been receiving emails from us, it's described there in the email. The voting is to whether or not cancel the bike lanes on Alhambra Circle as part of the Alhambra Circle Complete Street.
That's exactly right.
And it's a final vote. That's it. Done.
Once the commission tells us whatever they
stop,
want us to do,
they'll stop.
then it's done.
Yes.
If they vote, they may say, let's continue with the process and follow it through polling.
Who's it?
And then the polling,
not what the
let me
mayor
talk about
said.
the polling.
That will only happen if we lose on Tuesday.
Let me talk about the
happen
polling.
if we don't get the votes on Tuesday.
Would you like to hear about the polling?
Can you answer who sent the email?
Who sent the email? City staff. Complete Streets. Are you on the email distribution?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you?
That's okay. I'll get it from. But
No,
FYI,
please.
I don't have it.
Please write your email
I'll get it
address.
from somebody else.
Please write your email. Yes, sir.
I guess they think that we don't.
Thank you. I'd just like to point out,
That's what it is.
I need your email because obviously it's not getting to you.
Okay, we'll finish this. I'll give it to you.
I'd just like to point out to you that everyone here is a Coral Gables resident. We're staying because we're so concerned about our city and the vision of George Merrick. And we're here to protect the canopies of the trees, and we're here.
No bikers are here. The bikers are gone.
And the bikers are going.
Well, because they don't
So,
live here.
I want to say this. We understand all that. We're very respectful. We just want to put out the information so you can make the decision. That's it. To be honest with you, whether this project is up or whether it's down, to me, it makes no difference. I move on to my next job. That's it. We're all just trying to do our jobs. We just want you to be informed. And I know this is a very, very tense, emotional issue because it involves your property. And we understand all that. We're very respectful of it.
Our city.
Hmm?
Santa Maria, one question.
Wait, did I have anyone else?
No, let this gentleman.
This gentleman.
We don't have all the information. They said they would come out and measure the property in front of each house. Why can't we put the vote off until next month? What is the urgency of having the
We
vote?
need to see all the
next Tuesday?
designs.
Because we don't want to. We want no more money spent.
So, okay. So here's where the polling comes in, right? The idea is, and whether the polling moves forward or not, or the polling may still move forward, it may just exclude bike lanes. It all depends on what happens on Tuesday, okay? But we will be mailing out polling forms, certified mail, each and every property owner in the notification area, which is the entire corridor. The entire corridor will return the polling forms within 30 days. Once we have the polling results, we will go ahead, provide it to the commission, and there will be a meeting, a public meeting, to discuss the polling results. And at that point, the commission will either provide a thumbs up on the project or direct us to not move forward. That's it. Any questions on the polling process? Well, that all depends what happens on Tuesday. I don't know.
What is the polling? Ask the question.
I can't tell you. We had polling set up already as questions,
We
but
haven't
depending
seen
on what
the
happens on
ballot.
Tuesday, we have to modify it. So I don't want to pull out a polling
Question.
form out there.
Just one small question.
Yes.
Real quick.
We need to see the ballot.
We need to see the poll.
Returning the grant, will it create a problem for your department?
We asked about returning the grant and whether it would present a greater problem. To me, it doesn't really matter. Is it potentially going to complicate our ability to get funding in the future? It's possible. I don't know.
So it is an issue.
I can't
For
tell
you.
you.
For
I
you
cannot
guys.
tell you. I cannot tell you whether it is or it isn't. Okay? To me, we just would have to, fund projects and perhaps do it with less grant funding. That's perhaps. I don't know. I don't know.
So it's very difficult for you guys wanting to give it back. It creates an issue.
I don't know. I can't tell you, Rocky. Honestly, I'm answering you in the way that I can. The only way that I can. I don't know. Grant funding goes away all the time. Now, I tell you what. If we follow the process and we get to a point where the community says no, and we return the grant funding, then we can always say, hey, we followed the process. Community said no. We're not moving forward. Here's your money.
And then you're covered. You're back to
We
cover.
may not be. I don't know. I can't tell you. Maria, please, 1 second. One second.
Question about the hearing. You said that we're going to take a poll. How far off Alhambra are you notifying people?
Everyone that's been notified up to now, which is 1 block on either side.
I can answer that question. The poll
Sir,
went out
you're
to
not here to answer
174
No, if he knows the
people
answer.
who live on Alhambra Circle and to 857
Others.
people who
Others.
do not live on Alhambra Circle. And one other thing, I
That's
want
all
you
we
to
go
know,
around.
he's not going to give me the mic. Tuesday, Tuesday, if the commission passes the resolution, the mayor has put up a resolution, and if it passes the commission passes it, this is over. The bike path is over. The polling only happens, the balloting only happens if it does not pass. So Tuesday is our chance to put this to bed and make sure this commission passes that resolution. And thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but you've been given wrong information. There will be no money to be returned because according to the finance director, Diana Gomez, according to finance director, money will not be coming till 2021. Well, this is a reimbursable grant. The money that has been spent, if the grant does not materialize, will be coming out of your pocket, not the state. This is a reimbursable grant. Diana Gomez, you can call her. I have her email. I have her answer because I asked how much money has been spent from the grant. 0, because we will get the money till 2021. Don't let them say that you're going to return the money. There's no money.
Maria, you are correct. This is a reimbursable grant.
So
And
no
we
big
will-
deal.
What we're doing is we're returning the grant. The grant has been awarded.
You said
The
returning
grant
the money.
the grant has been awarded. And if we return the money, by the way, if we return the money, we wouldn't be able to pay for what we've already paid for out from grant
come out
funding.
of our pockets.
So it does come out of
Even though
everyone's
we didn't
pockets.
want
ma'am.
it. Even when we didn't
The
want it.
grant funding that was applied for was for construction. The city's match, the city has to have a match. The city's match was the funding for design.
That's your money.
So whether or not,
And that's the way it happens everywhere.
so whether or not you return it, the money has already been
Correct.
from us.
No, but there's no money to return. The money has been coming in.
Exactly. It's already been.
So it's no big deal.
They pay for it.
They were
We
yeah, we
we
paid
were
for it.
we. So yes, we do. And by the way, I'm a taxpayer here in the city of Coral Gables. I am. All right. And so let me say this. Let me say this. This is the way that these projects work. We're not circumventing any processes. This is the way these things work. We need to spend money to come to you with something that you can discuss, and that's what we've done. We are trying to get you the information so that the discussion can be robust and can be as complete as possible. And then you make the call, and that's the entire process. If the polling happens next month in February, you'll have 30 days with your polling forms, and you make the call. And then the commission will vote up or down. That's it. This is all we want to get to. We want, if your mind is made up, your mind is made up. If it isn't made up, continue to research the information. We want you, and by the way, if you have any questions specifically as to your property frontage, contact us and we will measure it out right in front of your property and we will show you what the impact is. And that's all we can do. The rest is up to you. This is a very, very passionate issue. Believe me, it's not easy for staff to do this, but we're all trying to do our jobs. That's all. Yes, Jan.
I live near the bridge. We do not have any information here posted on the bridge. How can I, being an intelligent person, make a decision on a poll when I don't have information?
Okay, so we're working on that information for the bridge. My understanding is that there was something developed that we thought needed improvement. They were improving it, and we hope to have it on Monday. We are more than happy to put that up, send it out by email, or give you a link to the city's website so you can look at what that solution may be. Okay? Any other questions?
I just want to make a statement. I just want to make sure that the city, I want to make sure that the city employees who work for us are not biased one way or the other. And that's what it appears to be, that you seem to be, not you personally, but some people seem to be biased because they're bicyclists or whatever. Yeah, they seem to be biased because they're bicyclists. That's their personal life. If they want to bicycle all they want, that's their choice. But it is not the choice of the people that actually live there. And I can assure you, you take a poll of people, if they're going to start bicycling to work, it's going to be very, very few who will do it. They're an older population, and even the kids, they're not going to bicycle to school. They go to private school far away.
Okay, so I just want to answer that. Whether I ride a bike or I don't ride a bike doesn't affect the way I do my job.
Good.
Okay, we have been tasked with a job and we're just seeing it through. Whether I am a bicycle advocate or I'm not, it doesn't impact on the way I do my job. Okay, I have to do my job because at the end of the day, I work for all of you. And so does Jessica Keller, so does Brooke Dannemiller, so does Melissa Desayas. The thing about probably the worst aspect of this entire thing has been the personalization that has happened to basically it has an impact on staff. We are all just trying to do our jobs. All of us are trying because we were directed to do so by the commission. All of us are trying to do our jobs. And so,
Google her name and vote and you will see that it's not a personal thing.
And the sad part is, we're going to go through all of this, and the cyclists are going to ride because it's what they do. I used to ride bikes. I used to ride bikes years ago. Also, from the street to the and I used to go down O'Connor Road on foot and on a bicycle.
And then she attends our meetings,
You would see the cyclists.
and then she goes there as a resident, not as an employee. But she should not be allowed. She should not be allowed to attend.
So I think
Yeah, but you should know incognito. You should not go incognito.
to be doing this.
But you're not there to support, you're there to take notes, to
Dude,
report
you're right,
back
you're right.
on your agenda, which is
And I know
not the
because
same
I
thing.
work.
You don't go as a resident.
Jessica Keller, Baltimore, and you will see. And you will see what and FSU doesn't mean Florida State University.
And they like to ride through here because of the beautiful green, the streets, the shade, the trees, and how nice it is. So let them look out for the cars. Let's not all of us spend our tax money to implement all of that for them.
Especially when you have
Yeah, if they want to see, they can go over there.
they're all there. It's there.
At this moment in time, I think.
When she says all that money, does everybody know how much?
But when you look at her,
And I appreciate your participation, your input. Your input is you definitely consider it. It's valuable to us. And again, whether this ends up in a project that gets delivered or whether it gets closed, for me, it's my job. Move on to the next one. Believe me, we're busy in the city.
What did you hear? What did you hear today?
Well, I've heard a continuation of what I've heard before, that there's a big constituency that is in opposition to it. I've heard that.
There are many that haven't shown up today for this or that reason.
Right.
But who are also opposed.
Yeah.
There are also people that are in favor. And now that's the beauty.
Where are they?
They were here. That's the beauty of this process.
They were here.
That's the beauty of this process.
The swings. And
some lady.
Little notebook. You have that little notebook that you're passing around.
Ahora te lo voy a mandar todo.